Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds. Heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Rancangan kami menawarkan banyak bahasa. Sila kunjungi suprememastertv.com/kehadapan-schedule.
Vegan plant-based proteins are becoming fashionable and can make it easier to embrace veganism. Nevertheless, a deeper spiritual comprehension of veganism appears to be more crucial for those who commit to a compassionate lifestyle. Continue watching to find out more.
The fundamental purpose of vegetarianism is nonviolence. Vegetarianism means having reverence for all sentient beings. It is a noble way of life that actively practices compassion and love that is stated in all religions. Do Kyung Lee, vegan.
Beautiful viewers, I'm Kasita. The happy Kadazan people of Malaysia want to say apa khabar, meaning how are you in Malay, and send good vibes to take with you to spread the veganism message. Welcome to our program, The Impact of Veganism on the Environment, Health, Animal People, and Spirituality, Part 2 of 3. In the last episode, we observed that climate activists have begun to consider food as a solution to climate change instead of fossil fuels. The pro-vegan diet activists are flocking into the business of producing alternative vegan products. That animal people rights activism has shifted from companion and wild animal friends to the poor individuals caged by the animal people raising industry. And that some new animal person welfare laws have been enacted. But we are still far from the status where we can call the planet a welcoming home for our precious animal co-inhabitants. Activism is blossoming everywhere, with new non-governmental organizations springing up to drive the great food revolution in the countries of the Western Hemisphere. On today's show, we look at the impact of this giant food revolution in Asia, particularly in two countries, India and China. The story begins with an interesting question in 2013. What is the smallest circle you can create on the surface of the earth that has more people living inside it than outside it? That circle turned out to be South and Southeast Asia, as confirmed by Professor Danny Kwa, Dean, and Lee Ka-sing, Professor in Economics at the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, National University of Singapore. The 6,600-kilometer diameter circle, known as the Mongket Circle, with its epicenter located in Mongket, Myanmar, partially encompasses the land of some countries and the whole of China and India, the world's two most populous countries. China and India alone have more people than all of Africa, Europe, North America, and Australia combined. Needless to say, entrepreneurs in the Western Hemisphere cannot take their eyes off such a large market for their alternative protein products. This area is also spiritually concentrated. There are many more Hindus, Buddhists, and Muslims inside the circle than outside.
India. Majorities in all of India's religious groups abstain from eating animal people meat.
After learning the benevolent teachings of Buddhism and Jainism around the 6th century BC, vegetarianism was well received by the kind-hearted Indian people. Major religious groups in India have distinct views about the consumption of meat from animal people Approximately 24% of the population is vegetarian. Our beloved Supreme Master Ching Hai, vegan, attributes this to their strong belief in God.
It boils down to the point that they really have strong faith in God over there. They always have very deep devotion inside. I think it's deep-rooted in their tradition also. They were taught since they were kids about the value of spiritual faith.
While veganism in India is driven mainly by conformity to the traditional religions, it is now on the rise due to the Western world's influence and the growing consumer awareness of environmental issues. India has the highest number of vegans globally, accounting for 9% of the nation. Religion has a strong effect on Indian food culture, with even those not practicing regularly having been exposed to different dietary habits since childhood. Moreover, the availability of vegan and vegetarian dishes, along with the social taboo of consuming certain animal-derived products, has made it easier for non-practicing individuals to embrace a fleshless lifestyle.
Vegan, because all around in the universe where scientists can find, this is the most beautiful planet. We should treasure it. By being vegan, we can keep it.
Amiable viewers, we will be right back after this short message. Please stay tuned to Supreme Master Television.
Russia, go home now.
Welcome back to our show, The Impact of Veganism on the Environment, Health, Animal People, and Spirituality, Part 2 of 3.
China. Will China take the lead in the vegan trend?
Buddhism was introduced into China from Central Asia in the Han Dynasty from 206 BC to 220 AD, with the development of transport and trade between China and the lands to its west. The Chinese are well versed in the teachings of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism, which have advocated the notion of benevolence and not taking life. According to a 2016 Pew Research Center survey, there are an estimated 245 million Buddhists in China, about 18% of the total national population, while another 21% of Chinese adhere to folk religions that often incorporate Buddhist beliefs. Fortunately, the Communist Party, the controlling government of China, has a positive view on Buddhism. In China, vegetarianism does not have the same level of prevalence as in India. According to an article in VegNews.com, it is estimated that only 4% of the population abstained from animal people meat in 2014. Generally, people in China who follow a vegetarian diet do so for religious purposes. Now, many Chinese temples serve as both a place of worship and a vegan or vegetarian restaurant. Since the late 1970s, China's economic transition has resulted in an impressive reduction of poverty, with more than 800 million people rising out of destitution. Eating animal people meat on a daily basis has come to signify a new level of affluence for the burgeoning middle class. In 2016, China declared a plan to cut back on the consumption of animal people proteins by 50% by 2030 in an effort to reduce the rate of obesity and diabetes. However, this campaign did not mention greenhouse gases. The primary focus was on improving health. Because at the time, most countries around the world were targeting fossil fuels for carbon reduction, but not the footprint of consumption of animal people meat. The government was taking steps to tackle animal person meat consumption on several fronts. In 2016, going vegan for the environment or supporting animal people rights was still somewhat new and mysterious to many ordinary people there then. The NGO, the Good Food Fund, or GFF, based in Beijing, was formed in 2017 by Jian Yi, a veteran vegan activist, filmmaker, and the author of Eating as an Act of Civility, Review, Reflection, and Prospect of the New Vegetarian or Vegan Movement in China in the 2010s. Under the China Biodiversity Conservation and Green Development Foundation, GFF strives to promote and transform China's food system with a focus on the concept of a plant-forward diet. GFF's application for the Rockefeller Foundation's 2020 Food System Vision Prize was selected as one of the top 10 global finalists from a pool of over 1,300 applicants for its vision of a plant-based dietary transformation in China.
All information concerning the scientific evidence of climate change and its solution is in Supreme Master Ching Hai's book, From Crisis to Peace. Free for download at crisistopeace.org.
Vegan plant-based meat alternatives are gaining recognition among younger people who have become increasingly concerned about issues such as COVID-19 that are connected to food. As reported in 2021, as many as 62% of the Chinese population were ready to switch and buy vegan plant-based alternatives. Following a growing trend of veganism in China, in May 2021, Jian Yi founded a second non-profit called the China Vegan Society, or CVS, also a subsidiary of the China Biodiversity Conservation and Green Development Foundation. CVS plans to bring a new form of veganism into the Chinese mainstream that moves away from five-pungent veganism followed by Orthodox Buddhists. Working with a 7-member team of vegan advocates and community leaders, CVS held the first edition of China Veg Fest in October 2021 and the first annual MANG China Vegan Summit in December 2022. Mang is the Mandarin romanization of the Chinese character Mang, meaning many weeds or plants that grow rapidly, a notion that carries CVS's dream that veganism will flourish in China. According to 2022 statistics, about 5% of China's population is now vegan. Many prominent influences in the Western world have shown support for the China Vegan Society, including the Academy Award-winning American actor Joaquin Phoenix, vegan, the acclaimed Australian philosopher, author, and Shining Road Compassion Award laureate Professor Peter Singer, vegan, the award-winning Canadian photojournalist, animal people rights activist, Shining Road Compassionate Award and Shining Road Compassionate Photographer Award recipient Joanne McCarter, vegan, and the celebrated British environmentalist and Shining Road Compassion Award recipient Dame Jane Goodall, vegan. Vegan plant-based proteins are becoming fashionable and can make it easier to embrace veganism. Nevertheless, a deeper spiritual comprehension of veganism appears to be more crucial for those who commit to a compassionate lifestyle, with veganism being embraced in nations like India, China, the United Kingdom, and the United States. For example, people in India demonstrate their devotion and faith in God and observe ahimsa in their dietary habits. In China, the government and citizens observe the teachings of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. In 2010, Professor Danny Kwa conducted research to determine the economic center of gravity, estimating it based on 1,000 places around the world and factoring in economic value added. His findings showed that in the 35 years since 1980, this center had shifted eastward by 5,000 kilometers from its original anchor point in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. The direction coincides with the circle of the world's tightest cluster of people, and he concluded, if the world were a democracy, this circle is where it would make decisions of global significance. In Heaven's grace, we pray for the rapid growth of veganism in this area to help the world break through the critical mass of the vegan population.
Vegan. Ah, you are just extraordinary.
Virtuous viewers, it has been a pleasure to have your company for today's show. Please join us again next Tuesday, April 4th for the concluding episode of our show. Coming up next is Humans Must Cooperate and Be Vegan for Lasting Peace and Happiness Part 1 of 4 on Between Master and Disciples, right after noteworthy news. May your lives be graced with nobility, wisdom, and love.
Russia, leave Ukraine or you reign now. Peace be with you too.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, hell not rich.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/VEG.